Hi everyone, welcome back to another Cut Above with Chris. Going for a head shave and face shave today. Head shave's going to come up first. Straight away I'm just going to wet my head and I'm going to add some pre-shave today because I am going to be using a razor which I never thought I'd quite use on my head, but I'm going to give it a go today anyway. So the pre-shave that I'm using is Feather pre-shave gel. As you can see, I've got a hell of a head of hair now. I've actually got, I think it's 10 days growth on my head. So I'm just going to rub this in just roughly. I'm going to try something a little bit different as well. I'm going to do my first pass with warm water and then finish the rest of the shave off with cold water, and then I'll probably just do a cold water shave for the face shave. Right, I'll just put that to the side. The soap for today, this is some, I don't know why I'm using this soap, I really don't. This could be a massive error. Wilkinson Sod shaving soap, and it says on there, the moisturising agent and silicone enable the blade to glide effortlessly over the skin, leaving it well cared for and smooth. Now, I'll be honest, I don't quite believe that, but we'll see how it goes. There is the ingredients list. It's not the cleanest set of ingredients, by all means. There's more chemical names in there and more, well, it may not be all chemicals, it could just be the chemical name for normal things, natural things. But it comes in a little tub, comes with a lid, and it's a shit ton of soap. And it's pretty heavy. It weighs in at, has it got the weight on there? Surely, 125 grams, which I think is about 4 ounces, I think. All it is just a clean, fresh soap set. Can't really describe it any better than that now. I have test lathered this, and now just touching the top of the soap, it's been sat out for ages drying and stuff. It is quite slick. Whether it's slick when I'm shaving with it is a whole different matter, and I need slickness, especially for today's shave. Now, the brush for today is also the Wilkinson Sod brush, the flash one. This one here, which I can't remember what it said, it was like the special edition. I've still got the box for it, but Jesus, it is cheap shit, it really is. But the knot, surprisingly, is quite good. I did get a pretty good lather from it when I did the test lather. It is also surprisingly, given how sort of poorly constructed it is, made in Germany. So that's another surprise, but let's just see how it goes. It's a very thin, floppy, sort of, there's no density to the brushes, to the knot itself. It's just like, it's really easy to squish it about. And here we go, straight onto the dry soap. Now it's a really hard soap as well, so it's going to last a long time. But this isn't a soap I'll be using a lot of, to be honest. It was just one of those ones, it's a budget soap. I picked this up with a brush, I think, for about £10 in the UK. I think I paid an extra £1 for the brush because it was a special edition one, or 50p or something. So in terms of what it is, all it is a budget setup. Anyone can, well, not anyone, can't really say that, but the biggest majority of people out there would be able to afford this, I would say. I'd be surprised if they couldn't. Obviously there's homeless people and things that can't, but you know what I'm trying to say. And another thing I want to get onto, some of the weird stuff that gets requested. Shave your armpits. Fuck me. As if this world hasn't made me feel less of a man already. People want me to shave my armpits as well. To be fair, I just don't have the time to be doing stuff like that. I wish I had the time to groom myself to the point of, I'm going to shave my pits today. But it's hard enough just getting by doing what I do. I'm just going to put some of this on my head just now. I'm going to keep loading because this knot isn't allowing the soap to get to the very base. As you can see, it's still sat right on the tips of the brush. That might be a good thing, I don't know. I may even just try and do it now from what I've got in the brush. I'm just going to scoop all the excess off the tub. Set the tub to the side. Just rub all this in. Well, so far, what I've just put on my head there feels very, very thick, like super dense lather. So hopefully with a bit of water and 4.5 years of time, I might be able to build a ladder with it. Yeah, I'm actually quite surprised by this. It feels okay slick. It doesn't feel super slick. I might have some issues, but we shall see. Unfortunately, the issues today might cause me some pain and some blood, and given that I've got to go to work today, that's not really what I want. Now, the reason my hair on my head has grown so much is because I got sunburnt last Saturday. Not Saturday just gone, but last Saturday, the Saturday before, a week ago, at my son's soccer. The boys were playing in a soccer tournament, which they won. They won the tournament, which I was over the moon with. But I forgot to take sunscreen, which was a dick move. And as such, I paid the price. So I've been peeling, and the actual burn itself wasn't too bad. I actually hit it with some nice post-shave moisturisers, believe it or not, and it made a massive difference. One of them being from the Omnishaver Shave Butter, which has got some really lovely ingredients in it, and it works really well as an after sun. I think it's got aloe juice and shea butter and things in there, so it works really, really well for that. I have to say, this is not the best brush for creating a lather on my head. It really isn't. You can see how long the hair is through the soap, and I'm struggling to get it any more voluminous than this. I really am. So I think I'm just going to have to stick with this. There's not much soap in that, I can tell you that right now. I'm not getting many more passes out of that, if any. Right. Razor for the first pass is going to be this. This is the Feather Shavette. I think it's stainless steel. I think this is stainless steel. I think it's a stainless steel Shavette, and it uses the feather blades. Now this has got a Feather Pro in here, which are apparently the sharpest of all the blades, the one in the black box. So I'm just going to see how it goes. Now, one thing I do like about this is it's got a very strong screw on it, so it's not like it's going to flop about. You've got to actually force the razor up and down. The loading mechanism for it is so simple. I can actually do it. So you basically pinch, that releases the blade, and then you can just pull the blade out. There we go. So that is the blade that it uses. I'm just going to pop that back in again, see if I can do it without slicing my fingers open. There we go. Beautiful. It's so simple to load. It's obviously got even blade exposure because it is all blade. Now, in order to do a straight razor shave or a Shavette shave on my head, I have to hold the razor pretty much like that. Holding it like that is mainly for, I can use it on the sides here and some other bits, but generally I sort of hold it like that. It just works better, it's more comfortable. I think Shaving Butcher holds his razor like that most of the time anyway. I don't know why he gets a straight, he should just get a Camisori. Should have said why he gets a folding one. But anyway, here goes. Second use on the blade. I did use this once on a one pass of a face shave. Let's see how we go. Alright, and we're back. That was my alarm going off, which I set to wake me up, but I'm already awake, so that was a bit silly. Here we go again. As you can see, it's definitely cutting. It's very, very smooth. It's extremely smooth, actually. I'm very surprised. I may have taken a chunk ahead there. I'm not 100% sure. It felt like it, but we'll soon see. Yes, I have. I think it's a good one as well. Told you that might be blood. Alright, surprisingly, it's quite... Just trying to find the best way to do this here. It's pretty smooth. I'm quite impressed with it actually. I mean, that part there, it's directly against the grain. Unfortunately, the lather is quite thick, so I can't actually show you the hair, but you can see it's removing it very comfortably. I'm just waiting for this big blood to drip down the back of my head now. I mean, that's just melting the hair off. It's not even struggling at all. I'm not going to go too close to my ear because I don't want to cut the whole thing off. I quite like my ears. I'm quite partial to them. Now, of course, on the back of your head with a Shavette or any straight or anything like that, it's all touch and feel. You can't really see what you're doing. So you just got to play it by feel and hope that you find the right angle. Definitely cut myself. How bad it is, I'm not 100% sure. I thought it was worse than that, but it doesn't seem to be bleeding too much. Right, straight away, there's an issue with this soap. That's an issue I don't like. It causes soap scum really bad. Well, the cut's obviously not too bad because it's not feeling it anymore. It's not like it's not gushing blood. I've got chunks of hair everywhere, but there's no blood at all. Actually, I don't know what's happened with it. It must have been a very minor nick that's healed itself already. But that was the Shavette, the Feather Shavette, and I'm quite happy with that. I think that wasn't too bad for a first time. I think that's the first time I've used a Shavette on a full sort of first pass. Of course, there's bits missed everywhere, but it's not the easiest thing to do when you're not that good with it in the first place. Yeah, this lather and the brush is done and dusted. I have to dip the tips, dip the tips, and back into the soap again. Excuse me. We'll just try that. Just a little quick load, because this is just the second pass. I'm not too worried about a voluminous lather on this pass. So I'm now going to finish this shave off with the leaf razor. Now, I've been hearing a lot of good things about it for head shaves. Of course, my favourite thing to shave my head with is cartridge razors, there's no doubt about it, whether it be the Head Blade Moto, the Gillette Skin Guard, the Fusion. It really doesn't matter to me, but At the end of the day, if I can find this leaf working everywhere that I use cartridges, I can eradicate cartridges from my routine, therefore eradicating a part of my environmental footprint on the world. So here we are. Leaf shave, 3-blade cartridge style, self-loading mechanism, however you want to describe it. Now I gave this a real good clean up, brushed it all up with a toothbrush, and it came up absolutely spotless. Now a few people were saying, well, looks a bit fidgety, it looks a bit of a pain in the ass to load. It probably did in that video when I did it, but what I'm going to try and do is do a video of this right in front of me, just a review on the razor, showing you how it operates, how it works. Now this one I've just noticed as well, so a lot of the paint and stuff like that on this one's starting to bubble. I don't know whether I can actually show you. See if I can find a few bits that's a bit more, yeah, just on that bar there. See that little bubble there? So that's happening all over this razor as well. So there is issues with it, but this is the very first iteration of the Kickstarter, so there is obviously like a second generation where they've spent a bit more time, a bit more effort getting things straighter and smoother and better. See that ladder's a bit wishy-washy. It's not dissipating too much. The scent on it is quite nice. It's got a good scent strength as well. It's around like a 5 scent strength. So here we go with the leaf shave. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention the blades that I've put in it. So I put Boscoid blades in here today. Oh, so far so good. Right, this is the hard part. You've got nowhere to go here. This is when you have to pull out the little dinky tool, which isn't the best. So of course I always shave against the grain here. So with this little tool, if this is all you've got, and for me, it's not the best tool for the job. It does an okay job. It gets the job done. It's just not the best thing for it. Under the nose, not a problem. So it's a quick 1-2 buckle my shoe type scenario. But when you're doing this sort of stuff and you need to get like good shaves, it's just not a great tool to use. So far, it feels very comfortable. It's taken a bit to get that BBS, because you have to, in order to get a good shave with this razor, I find you have to push quite hard. Not quite hard, but you've got to give it a bit of welly. Okay, I'm definitely feeling a better sensation on the back, but still then, it's, ooey, careful, there's not much slickness in this soap. Not a great deal of residual slickness. That was juddering like mad there. So this is the worry that I had using this soap. Very strange. So what I'm noticing here, I'm just looking at the blades. You can probably see it as well. The only blade that's really working there is the bottom blade. The other two blades aren't really doing much. It's not collecting any hair or lather, if you can see that. It's very clear through those top two blades. Rinsing it out, no problem at all. The flow through, so that gap at the bottom there is that massive gap at the back as well. You can see, so flow through is great. Well, surprisingly, it's actually, I'm getting a pretty close shave at the back. What I will say is it feels very much like I'm using a double-edged razor. or a single edge razor, it feels like I've got one blade doing the work, and that's what it looks like. I'm definitely on this razor right now. There's one blade doing the work, and it's the one at the bottom. Which begs the question of what are the other ones bloody doing? Now the difference between a head shave and a face shave, the main difference, the big difference, is the fact that the skin on your head is very tight generally compared to what you get on your neck and your cheeks. So it's difficult to put pressure on and get all three blades, I would suppose, to make constant contact with the skin. It's no bad thing really, just having the one blade doing the work. It's still super smooth and comfortable. It doesn't feel like it's just one blade that's cutting. But is it going to get me a BBS shave? Do you know what? I'm very sceptical of that. I don't think it is. I think this razor is not going to give me the end product that I can get from a double-edged razor or a high quality cartridge razor like the Skin Guard. I just don't think it's got it in it. I don't think it's good enough. Right, I'm just going to empty that water out again. It's probably going to be here again. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this soap. Oh, it's sticking to everything. I'm having to really scrub the bowl off here. Yeah, let's have a feel. Yes, it's just not. I would say I'm about 70% of the way there. Most of it's sort of smooth and BBS, but there is a lot left over. A lot. So what I might do, and it's really just to save time now that I've got work to go to. I'm just going to put just that whatever's left in the brush on my face. And I'll be back in a second. So I've just grabbed the head blade Moto. I'm just going to use this to finish off. So you'll hear every now and then, you'll hear where the Moto chunks into some hair. Especially there, wow, that was loads of hair. Not so much above the ear, which is good. So there's not a lot of hair left, but like now you can hear there is little areas where the head blade Moto is finding some hair to shave off. I mean, for me to get a BBS head shave from that razor, it's gonna take some time. That's not a quick fix for me. I'd still be here for a good, I reckon, another 10 minutes. Longer than I would be with the head blade. Just trying to get that final squeaky clean shave. I don't know why I'm holding the razor like this now. I never hold it like that. So the soap works just. It's not a slick soap at all, really. I mean, I can imagine it would sell pretty well in Scotland with all the tight Scots over there. Nice and cheap. Still works, just doesn't work quite as well. Right, let's rinse this out. Got a triple razor head shave. Wow. And for what it's worth, it wasn't too bad. Right, well, it's very tacky, which can be a good thing. That can mean that there is slickness definitely there. Moisturisation. It feels tacky, like it's left a layer of moisture. So I'm going to leave that. I'll have a look at that once I cut in my face shave. But anyway, let's have a look at the soap. So the soap was Wilkinson solid in the blue tub. That's the lid of it. The other half's on the thing here, but it's covered in soap. I'll get that later. The brush today was also the Wilkinson solid boar brush. It's not a bad little brush, you know. I mean, if it's your budget and that's what you're on, then it works. It works very well. It does its job. It just doesn't compete with the best of the best in terms of synthetics and high quality natural hair brushes. First razor was the Feather Artist Club razor, I think it's called. It's really smooth. It's really nice to use. Really surprised. I did use a Camisori style Kai razor that was sent over from Spencer, and I used that and didn't enjoy it. That feels different, feels nicer. I think the whole straight razor folding thing feels better in my hand. It feels more comfortable to hold for me. For some reason it just works better. The second pass of the shave was done with the leaf razor and its companion. Look, it does an alright job. It's not a great head shaver for me. That was, if I had to give it a score out of 10, I'd probably score it at 6. You know, it's about as good a BBS as I got from it, at 6 in terms of that. I could have got a full BBS, but I would have been there for a long time getting that. And it's just not worth it for me with that. Head shaves for me are a case of getting them knocked out and getting rid of them. I do enjoy it, but I don't as well. It's quite time consuming. And the final effect when it gets like this, I love it. In terms of irritation and things, it's very minimal. There is a little bit of blood on the back where I nicked myself in the initial, but it's all right now. Finished off with head blade Molto, which is filthy, needs a good clean. Let me smack out the toothbrush again. And started off with Furball pre-shave. Whether that helped or not, I don't know. I think it probably did, because this soap is not very slick. And I'm going to finish off with Bluebeard's Revenge Cooling Moisturiser, but I'm going to do that after my face shave. So you guys stay safe, drive safe, don't drink and drive, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Cheers.